Welcome everybody to this Sunday morning service here at Salt and Light Christian Church. The story that I'll be telling you all this morning is about the conversion of Saul of Tarsus to Paul of Tarsus. So, Saul, he was a lot of things. He was a scholar, a Pharisee, he was educated, he was a Roman citizen, and he had gone through the training of the Jewish religion at the time to become a Pharisee, and he was moving up through those ranks. And the way he was doing this at the time was by persecuting the early Christian church. From Paul's perspective, these so-called Christians, the early church at the time, he looked at them as heretics, as leading fellow Jews, his kinsmen, away from God into this popped up, religion, this new fad. And so, not only did he have the authority and the ability given to him by the rulers at the time, the religious rulers, the Sanhedrin, to go and to persecute the Christians, but he had the zeal to go and persecute the church because he saw them as being against God and deceiving his own people. And so he very fervently did so all throughout Jerusalem, to the point that the Christians of Jerusalem had either scattered, been arrested or killed, or gone into hiding, pretty much. And so Saul, wanting to continue this persecution, being full of zeal for this, requested permission to expand his authority. And the Sanhedrin gave him this permission to go to Damascus and to do the same as he had in Jerusalem. And so he gathered up his group to travel, as you would. You wouldn't just travel by yourself. It would have been dangerous in that day. And so he gathered up his band and they took off to go to Damascus to continue his persecution of the Christian church. However, as we see in Acts chapter 9, God had different plans for Saul. While he was traveling to Damascus, the Lord Jesus appeared to Saul, not yet Paul, in a vision. And a mighty voice spoke from the heavens, saying, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" And a bright, shining light, brighter than the sun, shone upon Paul. So bright that he couldn't even see. And he was forced to his knees. And he responded, "Lord, who are you?" And Jesus responded, "I am Jesus, who you are persecuting. Rise, go into the city, and it will be told to you what to do." And so, Saul, having this zeal to serve God, he realized in this moment that what he was doing was in fact the opposite of what he had thought he was doing. While he thought he was helping God and the Jewish people by quelling this uprising of these heretics, in fact, he was harming Christ's church and the church that Jesus came to establish. And so, Saul, being the only one who saw the light, yet the other men in his band heard the voice that spoke to Saul, they all knew that this was God speaking to them. And Saul had gone blind from that shining light. And so they led Saul by the hand into the town of Damascus, where he stayed and fasted in prayer for several days. At this time, while Saul was in Damascus, the Lord also spoke to a disciple who lived there in Damascus by the name of Ananias. And he told Ananias, he called him, and Ananias responded, "Here I am, Lord," as the prophets of old did. And the Lord told him to go to where Saul was and to lay on his hands upon him and to remove the blindness from him and to pray for him. And at first, Ananias was kind of confused. He's like, "Lord, I know who this Saul is. I know what he's been doing in Jerusalem. Like, this guy is famous for attacking us, for persecuting us." However, God spoke to him once again, saying that this Saul, who would come to be known as Paul, was Christ's chosen instrument to send the message of salvation, the gospel, to the Gentiles. And so Ananias, being obedient, did as the Lord commanded, and he went to Saul. And he laid his hands upon his eyes, and it says something like scales fell from Saul's eyes, and his sight was restored. This story that we get from Acts chapter 9 is one of the first conversions to Christianity that we ever see. And it's an awesome example of how Jesus can take someone and turn them 180 for him and to change their life and the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of other people because of him. So thank you. It's been amazing.